Alright. Respective memories. Blossoming youth. Ayako. No, let's have more. We were kids. We both kind of started to catch on to the situation with our families and to the bonds that land held us. Although we didn't know any of the details at the time, your grandparents owned all the land the city was built on. He was a very conservative man. He didn't try to spread his influence, instead opting to fortify what he already had. He didn't know exactly when it first started, but organizations were used to administrate cities. And when we were kids, your dad was a capo famiglia, and your grandpa his consigliere. I can't say these words. I just assume they're like names for these groups. But just because he was an advisor doesn't mean he was powerless. While your dad made the decisions, your grandpa was the only one allowed to fight him on them. Your father was a capodecina that served under your dad. He wasn't especially happy about that. My father. The parents currently doesn't affect their kids. Or at least that's what I thought at the time. And what I probably thought too. What you thought at the time. But there was still a chance we could be caught in the crossfire. So your dad decided to send you and your mom away off the island and to the north for some more prosperous areas. He thought that by sending us there, we could live our lives clean, regardless of where we came from. There was no changing what's in your blood, though. Jacobo. Huh. Why is Maria the maid and Jacopo the master? Odd. If they're decent friends at the time. Because of our families, we weren't really able to get along with our kids in the city. So we played a lot up at the top of that hill. It became kind of like our little secret lair. There was an abandoned house up there. You guess an old farmhouse or something. And kids love that sort of thing. I know. You know? We called it Casa Nostra. Our home. And we pretended it was actually ours. We drew circles on the wall in chalk and used it for target practice. We brought up a ball of straw and used it to make makeshift beds. When either of us got into fights with our parents, we'd stay the night instead of go home. In retrospect, we're sure they knew where we were going, and just let us do our thing. Oh yeah, there was this one time when we were playing and a huge storm rolled in, trapping us up there. The wind wasn't just howling, it was screaming bloody murder. It was blowing so hard you thought the house might fly away. As you recall, I was crying that night. It wasn't just the two of us who had made Casa Nostra our home base. So there was one more, a stray black dog. You're pretty sure it didn't have any actually black fur, though, and it was just really, really dirty. Oh, great. Narrow. I wonder if that name comes from the Greek empire, the Greek emperor that's basically a tyrant. Well, I mean, tyrant as it is. Can take it. Yeah, that's sad, but dog we can't all take care of. Huh? But then, Maria, then how did he become such an asshole? That's what I say. Cartridge. Cartridge. Bullet cartridge. Oh, that's what it was. Games. Those are fun. Glorious cartridge that's historical on in the names of my ancestors. It's like the gods swear on river Styx and just they could just break it however they want. Fucking Greek gods would be like, yeah, swear on the river snake. It's adorable back then. Short too, he was short. He's from a little bastard. Indeed, he has. take your own baby. Please. Your wife's gonna fucking sell you. Take up your eyes. What? Maria, what are you... Maria, huh? Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? I guess on Octopus. He's actively pushing this away. Taste the fucking iron. He's getting played, and so is the other madam. It feels like Maria now. The music is nice. Like this is the music for right time. The drastic shift. The moment it was revealed. The moment. What was it? What was it? Yeah, it looks horrible. All your problems will be solved. Well, to be fair, she's got a point. The man could just be calm for 1 second and snap his wife and talk to her, and boom, your problem is basically solved. Oh my god. Play both sides. Listen to you. Keep promoting. Deeper and deeper shit for it. Well, fair enough. It's like. Ah. Yeah. Maria? I don't know. It makes sense though. This makes a bit more sense than the man just being horrible and the woman is just like, something like that. No, no, it's like you just talk to him. You're that's actually this. She's rather smart that way. She went a roundabout in a way to make it seem like he's. Yes, roundabout. And she knew loves her. I do wonder. I mean, it's the House of Morgana. This is actually like this. The third door is the only door where the plot actually begins to warp around the background. Yes, yes. Am I shocked, or do I instead limit this development? You were deeply sorrowful, though to a lesser degree about Maria's true intentions and more your shameful inability to recognize her machinations. At the time, you too believed that Maria was the White-haired girl's one and only ally. It was not until everything had drawn to a close that you discovered the truth. Then you now know how the ends. Then you now know how the tale ends. I say, yes, that is correct. Well aware that it is not the case, you told me the story in a way that suggested she was on the white-haired girl's side. Oh my! You wonder if that you wonder if that constitutes to lying to me. You really wanted to present the events to me in order, starting from the beginning. When Minera's ill intentions were still veiled in shadow. And that's the unreliable narrator for you, mid. You wanted me to know the same feeling of consternation you had experienced. Our girl continued to write letter after letter. They were all addressed to her dear husband, detailing every present love for him, and her desire for the relationship to return what it had once been. Funny enough, the first two doors, she didn't love anyone, and then now it's like, oh, she falls in love. Tragedy strikes. That's real fun. Oh, I mean, it's all the doors are tragedies. Great enough. And altered the letters before delivering them. However, she changed the address from Yakubo to another man. She would cut away the top of the page with Yakubo's name on it, and the place below write a different name. She could now have mimicked the white-haired girl's handwriting for the full length of the letter, but Miriam could make a single name look adequately similar, and would after all be quite difficult to notice minor discrepancies in such a small quantity of text. To Yakubo's eyes, the modified letters looked like professions of love toward another man. The more she expressed her feelings for Yakubo, the greater the turmoil grew within his heart. Even though her love was directed towards him, quite heartbroken at the sight of suffering. But when she returned to her room, she wore like other friends. She delivered a great deal of information from the square room. The more they writhed in English, the deeper her satisfaction grew. And both the white-haired girl and Yakubo continued to place their confidence in Maria, the one responsible for everything. The white-haired girl had never possessed a sense of distrust, and so she took everything Maria said as truth. Continuing in her agony to write to Yakubo letter after letter, after letter. Yakubo accepted every letter Maria delivered without that. He would merely nod as he accepted it, his face contorted in discomfort, and then pour over the text when he was alone. He assumed he did not want her to see his heart shaking into darkness. He had put his trust in his wife rather than Maria. He would have almost certainly been able to realize the letters were directed to him, despite the altered recipient's name. Everything she wrote about concerned him, after all. How could someone who had lived an isolated life as her have so many identical expressions? For instance, with the two distinct men. Why could he not find it himself to trust her? Perhaps doubting her was simply easier. If I were in his position, would I trust her? Would I maintain faith in her, the woman who had waited so long? Would I believe the feelings she expressed for me were genuine? She continued writing letters day after day, week after week, without hiatus. She had by and large run out of things to say, but that did not put an end to her letter writing. She simply repeated what she had written before. Nevertheless, they did not see one another in person. The white-haired girl, forbidden from leaving her shed, could only wait for her husband to pay her visit. So, Yet he simply stepped up and taken action. He put an end to the string of letters, each of which gave rise to further misunderstanding. He needed merely ask why her girl in person, whom the letters were addressed, whether the oh my god! Oh my god! It's like more comedic by the second. It's like, man, God's drastic. What? Oh my goodness. Or whom the letters were addressed, whether they were described or true, and the twisted threads of his confusion would have all been unraveled. He had no such effort, relying instead of Maria to serve as his intermediary. You feel as though you have now, at long last, come to understand just what kind of person Jacopo was. While he had a great deal of pride in his capabilities, he had far less confidence in himself as a person. If he had faith in himself, perhaps he would have put faith in his wife as well. Had his pride not been so twisted, perhaps he would not have been so afraid of being hurt. Indeed, he was afraid of being rejected by her, afraid to face reality where his beloved partner scorned him, where the woman he loved laughed at him disdainfully, where she and countless others mocked him. The thought of it paralyzed him. An environment in which he had been raised played a significant part in his state of mind, you expect. Occasionally, the name and the letter were changed. Muriel was making her girl out to be having affairs with multiple other men. She can never do any such thing, of course. But Jacopo, thinking Muriel to be his only ally, believed everything she said. This is your responsibility, Fib. Zati is on your hands, Fib. Wrong. Or who was saying that? My childhood was day after day of mockery. You're really just a bunch of nobodies trying to pretend your name means anything. They would say, sneering and glaring. Maria treated me as an equal, but she was the only one. You wanted to show them up. And to do that, you had to rise to the top. At least high enough that you could laugh at them. Your old man wasn't the only one who wanted that. You did too. You had to make them acknowledge that you had value as a man. Who would actually want to go through the life of being laughed at? A fool would. Thus, a fool one likes to be. You had to make them recognize that what you did had value, and what you needed neither love nor compassion to do it. Or that's what you thought. In the beginning, you only ever intended to use that woman. You simply needed her to build a name for yourself. When she served her purpose, you could simply cast her aside. That is what you thought. Or rather, that is what you endeavored to make yourself think. But deep down, you felt bad for her. You pitied this woman who was being made to marry a man she had never even met before. You're sure what she really wanted was to have regular marriage with someone she loved. But because her family wanted to cling to their name, she wasn't afforded that opportunity. You wanted to do something for her. It didn't have to be anything grand. You genuinely wanted that. The day of your wedding was when you first saw her. Her face, partially obscured behind the veil, was gorgeous. And crucially, she was smiling at you. You had expected to find only gloom and despondency in her eyes. But instead, she smiled. The moment you saw that smile, you waited to be a permanent part of your life. You truly did want to ensure she always had a smile on her face. I've, wait, what? Mate, what? Our girl's present letters did not improve anything, but simply stroked the flames of the misunderstanding. This continued for several months. Though outside the sun shone with gentle warmth of spring, the cold bitter winds of winter still blew between Jacqueline and his wife. Not allowed to leave her shed and never receiving a reply to her letters, while her girl only source of information was Maria. Week after week, her circumstances remained the same, but nothing else was beginning to show signs of change. Her mental state. The dedication to him was perhaps closer to an obsession, but she did not seem to be conscious of the fact that her obsession was killing her. She was visibly losing weight and her spirit was breaking down. It was said that emotion fade with time, but the opposite can also be true. The act of waiting, of fervently believing for so many months, despite the objects of one's affection not returning them, can tear apart a person's heart, crush their soul, and shatter their spirit. No matter how radiant, how thick-skinned they may be, if enough time wear anyone down, no one is immune. Exactly. The story.
You get to choose
No, you basically read most of it.
Read?
You read, and then they talk in subtly movement on the face. I don't even pay attention. I barely pay attention to their faces. I'm like, story, it good.
Can you control it?
I can click and it goes. That's as much as I can control it. It's a reading a book with pictures and the music.
It's reading a book.
To accompany it, yes.
What? I thought you guys choose your dialogue.
That makes it. Well, I mean, there's good in both sides. You could choose your dialogue, right? You could, have your own personal side story, but that takes from the impact of the story because the player could be extremely horrible as a person or very good as a person. It diminishes the thing. What are you cooking up now, Maria? our lives. I shall be forfeit to the witch's curse. Nevertheless, we must lay bare those who sin upon their souls for the redemption of those from fear. Should ye have mean not to dispel your curse, we implore you, all witch, to mark it with only their bloodlines. The blood of the sinners flows for those who dwell within the house, but not I. Coincidentally similar. No one's hearing it perfectly unique after all. Silly. Hmm? Huh? White hair, fair skin. Doesn't matter, but then face all 20. Clothes. Painting seems more inferior to something about it feels off. It's very creepy, unsettling. So, this painting. With ourselves. It's just you're gonna get wrecked because you live in the house and the tragedy is not gonna follow you. That I feel like that's gonna be so satisfying, just watching her get rolled over by the curse in the house. Oh, wait, what? Sorry. Okay, which one do you? Demon, we're very present with misfortune on others. Curse. Oh, now you remember. This giant policy is in show. Gardener. Right. The deadline ticks ever closer. It's finale. Let's see what tragedy you set up this time, huh? Pacific Railroad's last spike ceremony was run years by the day. The day was coincidentally the line of two of them had set themselves. Jack Rose confronted his wife and wanted her girl to wait for him. And as that day approached, he continued to write letters. She wrote the letters purely by force of habit, despite having been warned visibly then. I expected that she could not stop, but the fact of the waiting was all that kept her from going mad. By focusing her attention on another person through her letters, she was able to maintain her grip on herself, but that day would put an end to her suffering and despair. When the railroad was completed, all the misunderstanding would be cleared up. They would return to the smiling, happy couple they had been when they first married. The harsh winter would finally come to a close, melting away in the past and swallowing them up a step into the future. With constant prayer in your heart, you patiently waited the railroad's opening ceremony. You do not, after all, wish for anyone to fall into any kind of misfortune, and that goes for me as well. Yeah, yes. The door is soon to be shut upon this era. I am not curious to see what happens next. Yes, very well. Then allows us to make our way to the final day. See with our own eyes, how this cycle concludes, and please knock her hand. Let go of her hand. Yeah. Before the opening ceremony, master of the house headed for his wife's shed. There was a tension on his face, but a certainty in his step. He had found the resolve to speak with her, having locked her away for so long, like a common prisoner. Echo was hardly optimistic about what she might have to say to him. He had undeniably mistreated her, had heartless and cruel things to her, and even gone physically violent with her. Being basically a dipshit, and his actions were inexcusable, even if they were sponsored infidelity. Of course, very infidelity, which had driven him to such behavior, had not affected his place, but he was unaware of that. There was a chance they would never reconcile their misunderstandings, and that this predicament would not have a positive resolution, but he still clung to a tiny fragment of hope. He wanted to start over with her girl to make a new future with her. With the desire burning so strong in his heart, he stood before the door into the shed and called out to her. If she's not here, hello? The string breeze brushed against his cheeks. The drawn lace curtains spread to glow in the gentle moonlight. The white girl was not in her room. So if he glanced around his wife's chambers. Her eyes in the neatly organized room showed no different than any other day. His eyes was pale and hollow, for the one who was supposed to be here, was supposed to be waiting for him, was not present. He could not hear her voice from anywhere in the shed. Its place echoed a dry rustling, a sad, pitiful, empty whisper of a noise. It came from the lone object like a banner up top of the desk. Fiona Catoscope. There was only one present I could have ever given the water girl, a toy made of paper. When the spun of viewed in a mirror, it created the illusion of a man and woman dancing. Now, Margot had evidently made considerable use of the phariscope. It was visibly torn and tattered and rough in places and had even begun to yellow. It spun slowly in the wind, rustling, rustling, and rustling, spinning in an endless manner. Reminder of the days, the year before, though there was no longer anyone around to look through it. It's ever rotting and concealed by a single sheet of paper. As if drawn to it, she scanned contents of the parchment. It was a letter addressed to Carol Mia. Salutation written in native language as follows. Travel continent. Waiting. Alright. What's this? It's visibly rattled. And it's gonna crash down Maria. Unsurprisingly, saw a mention of his Transcontinental Railroad opening so remotely letter he had written. Her dearest treasure had a profession of love for him. And above all, the mingled text that appeared to have written by someone not entirely in the right of mind. Everything about it simply amplified his befuddlement. Yeah. Why? Day prior, May 8th. And then the same time told May 8th. However, due to bad weather, like 2 days. Madam is having an affair. Sharon's been going to come together in his mind. We have information of him and his wife's supposed unfaithfulness, and though the letters had not been addressed to him, thinking back on it, they had all been about him. In one letter, she mentions treasuring a gift. Yakuba assumed it meant a gift from another man, but in fact, she had been referring to the phanoscope sitting atop her desk, still spinning in the wind. At long last, he finally made that connection. At the same time, he realized the only person who could have altered the letter was someone they both treasured, Justin Maria. She waited, unwavering, refused. His realization was far too late. The wire girl's spirit had broken, and she was no longer at the mansion. He called on to Maria's miscalculations. Sooner, things would not have turned out as they had. It was much too late. Punching a letter from his wife, Jacobo surrounded his head and said to Maria, but she was not in the room assigned to her. Where are you? Several maids were found slumbered by the racket, but no one had courage to speak up as master of the house. Frantically charged through the walls until he arrived at his own chamber. He had closed the door before leaving, but now silver light shone through now between him and his frame. Within the room, he thought he could sense someone's presence. From the door, he saw a complete person on his own chair, a woman. Damn, he looked devious. That is true. Very true. Honestly, well, I wonder how dense he could have been. The guns. And yeah, they're. Yeah, really? Why do you not? In panic, you pulled the trigger from the barrel. Bullet went flying, quite literally between your eyes. Would anyone have ever believed me if you say this was how you wanted things to turn out? The rain just keeps on coming. What if we will go one day? Citizen, so it's true. Of course. Little. You're not put into words. You trust. I trust you understand that you considered me a dear friend. Just this land can't run too conservative. We're in control of country atrophy. Progress continue to lose steam. If we don't push forward, we'll fall further and further behind. Therefore, long, we'll be in the next time we finally give up. But until that day, we'll cross over to a new world and establish a coast there. Unify us, bolster us, make us strong. I'll handle things back here. The Capital tried to strike back. It shall be taken care of. Plans for plans for blood. Best you can give. Those are jobs we made. If you show me any more obviously prefer until treatment, Verzinatis are liable. Step in power, respect. Enough authority not to make orders from anyone. Thought if I could obtain all that, you would be able to give you your freedom. And her as well. Wanted to give you both comfortable lives. But none of that got through to either of you. Are you going to sell well first? Failed to communicate to anyone what he held within his breast. He was chained down by his place in society, his pride, his relations, and his own heart. At some point, he found himself in a position where he was no longer able to speak his mind. After enough time, he likely forgot how to be genuine at all. Perhaps someone like him simply would not, even if they knew how. In any event, there are many things in this world that cannot be communicated without being put into words. How sad that his tale would end without him expressing how he truly felt. How hard it must have been to never clear up his misunderstandings. After Yakubo's confrontation with Maria, the Pacific Railroad was completed and scheduled. Celebratory cheers shook the new world as the last spike was driven into the rails. Yakubo, however, could not even manage to smile listening to the telegraph. As you are aware, I can take a guess as to why. The people with whom he wished to share that moment were not there. Shortly following her death, Yakubo had a private funeral for Nia. And he commenced a search for her girl, but he did not do so alone. He hired others for help, did everything in his power to find her, tirelessly searching for many, many years. However, he never was able to locate her. He spent many of his life alone. Money, power, renounced servants. The world around him was always quite lively, but solitude was his only companion. He waited, and he waited, and he waited for her girl to return. The years crawled by with no family or loved ones as to care for him. In old age, he died alone. Well, he died alone. Yes, that's gotta be fact because skill something. Pig Iron Manor. Savage. The door before me slowly drew shut. I could no longer hear the outrageous sounds of the men from within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Straining vaguely at the closed door, I noticed something was dismissed. The maid who had been holding my hand was now by my side. I glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. Not having anticipated this, I were unsure of how to react. A voice called out to me, but it was not the maid's voice. Caught off guard, I swung around, confused in search of the source. Following the voice instruction, he found himself facing a wall. Look, I see a ghost. Yeah. The voice coming from within the painting. When I had passed this wall on my way to the third floor, and a magnificent landscape painting had been hanging there. But now the canvas was deep shade of black, as if it had been dripped into a vat of ink. Splendid. Listen to the conversation. And he sounded rather high-spirited. Perhaps he was simply excited to have the opportunity to speak with someone. So I was asked for printing a few questions. Who was a maid? Yeah, first is. So, let's see. Well, in the case. Never know. And the matters it. Why not? Okay. Joshua. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Sorry. Of your own props. See it today? Oh, that's true enough. Sorry. Yeah, so. Sincerely prefer to do that, then regards how that comes next. Trav, that seems too good to be real. It's precisely that, fabrication. Behind the master mind. Oh? What is this place? No one knows anything ever happened. Then he told me after he said it was her, or did you? Her, right? Painting. Oh, that was. Is it the Fox and Harris family time? Please. Please. You can have yourself, we can toss it aside. Choices are mine. It's going to show up. Do you want to come the next one? Since you got free time, could we ask some things could we come across things you would move her around? Alright, we're going to go exploring. I got the perfect thing. Stick your hand in the camera, sword. We're still wrapped in the impermeable of darkness. Perfect all-consuming void. The man had told me to put my hand into it. I reach into the frame. I extended my hand for the painting. The moment my fingers brushed against darkness, saw my entire hand into the ways. Not there. The man painting had instructed he drilled around inside the darkness. For long I felt something hard at my fingertips. Reaching into an object, I withdraw my hand. My arm is still intact. I spread my fingers and found the key. Damn key, that looks pale. Oh, that tickled. Huh? Getting pronounced as a master bedroom. Well, back she tossed it into me. The damn little bug. See, I ain't mine. Having said that, the painting felt quiet. In my hand, a small key. It seemed rather antiquated and vaguely familiar. Silence once again drew over the corridor. I stood there all alone, no sounds were made. After considering a few moments, I decided to explore the mansion on my own. Huh? Call for the maid! There's the achievement for that. Is it saved? Autosave. Man painting. I'm gonna save here. Call for the maid. I tried calling for the maid. It was quiet since the woman fell over me. Call for the maid! I tried calling for the maid. Since the woman fell over. Call for the maid. Calling for the maid. I tried calling for the maid. It was quiet. I'm getting this achievement, I'm sorry. I'm lost. All alone. I got it. Alright, entrance? Go to the den. Cellar. Existing glass window. We'll see. I approached the stained glass window. An array of pews was arranged facing the stained glass. They seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. I sat down in one of the palms and stared quietly forward for some time. For a moment, I felt like I was on the verge of calling something out. Ultimately, the memory never managed to surface. May did not appear to be here. Where could she have gone? I decided to ruminate while exploring the mansion. To then go to the entrance. I made my way into the mansion's entrance. There was no one around. No any source of light grouping through the darkness. I found the door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. pressed against the bar, but remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. Well, I'm stuck in here. Oh well. It seemed I could not leave the mansion. Burn the witch, crucify them, here you are. When I made a step away from the entrance, I heard a multiple voice. Looked around, but was unable to determine the source of the voice. Nor could I be sure whom I had heard earlier. You know, if I'm finding anything at the entrance, I decided to head somewhere else. Fireplace. I made my way to the room with the fireplace. What remained the fire crackled wearily, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. I remembered that I had awoken here. Out of sheer curiosity, I sat down in a rocking chair I had just been asleep in. Creak, creak, creak. It was a soothing cradle to a baby. In short order, I found my conscience drifting from the grasp. Oh. Oh. Your father. Such a sin. It's okay. Huh? Silence? I slowly slid open. Fragrance of a pleasant dream lingering in the back of my mind. The crackling of a fire, the taste of a warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before you. No warm, crackling flames. The fact that brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of embers left there. A chill ran down my spine. Afraid I might freeze stiff if I stayed there much longer, I resumed my exploration of the mansion. I'm doing that last. I'm sorry. Call for the maid again. Go downstairs to the cellar. When I descended the cellar, I heard the beast like his iron. Long as it came a sour odor and the sound of roasting flesh. I could not see the beast, but that did not make it feel any less unpleasant. I made to retreat from the cellar. Oh, hello, beast. But before I could, a jolly creature lunged at me. I reflexively squeezed my eyes shut. With the servant once, I opened my eyes again to find a cellar of a man standing in the place of the beast. Me and the shadow stared at one another for some time. I asked the shadow a question, and the shadow responded. However, I had no idea what I said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to me, but trying to make sense of something I could not understand was pointless. Having no reason to remain in the cellar any longer, I made my way back upstairs. This is the same... Rose garden. It's door 2. It's from door 2. The guy's still here, huh? Oh. I could hear the sound of children laughing. I could not see them. Regardless, the cheerful voice warmed my heart. I decided to linger in the garden for some time. Along with the children's laughs, wrapped a sweet fragrance. The wind blew whisking flower petals into the air. It was an enchanting sight. Ah. But after a while, the rose began to wilt. I could no longer hear the children's voices either. A young man stood alone in the wilted rose garden. As I drew nearer, I called out to the youth, but the young man did not appear to notice me. He merely stood there, standing vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. This I wanted. Peaceful life. Take this. I tried to call out the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear me. He simply continued muttering to himself. For long, the youth shadow faded into nothing. Unable to bear this any longer, I stepped back into the mansion. To the den. Oh, the scent of cigarettes smelling near the den. However, the room was silent, not even an echo of a man's shadow remained. Something was moving, the air balls. There was no one present to strike the balls, they rolled spontaneously around the table. Oh, the master chased across surface rough and erratic. Contrasting when the former master held the cue. Searched awkwardly with one, not a single one coming close to the pockets. In experiment, I pulled the ball off the table. In response, half the balls became clumsier. Having lost one of the targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As I stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. Turning around, I saw a silhouette of a man. However, I could not make out what the man was saying. The man thrust his fingers at the table. He appeared to want me to return the ball. I reluctantly placed the barrel arch back on the table. When I did, the balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing into any one of the pockets. I looked up and found the shadow gone. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, I exited the room, making my way back to the corridor. The library, I don't know if it was anything. Oh, the smell of dusty books filled the library. I approached the shelf and examined the book. Suddenly, avalanche of them falling on the floor. They say blankly at the mountain of books. They've fallen down on their own, but they show no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one else to do it, I began placing books back on the shelf. 2, 3, a dozen, and thus, as soon as I had gotten them all back up, I came crashing down again. I wished very much to implore the maid of assistance, but she did not appear to be in the area. And then I had never seen any made way back to the hallway. I had to leave the maid. 5 centimeters. Really? So the key I had given into the door's keyhole. With the door opened. The master bedroom was shrouded in darkness, much like every other room in the mansion. It had evidently been left unused for some time. The air in the room was still and forlorn. The voice seemed to be ringing out from somewhere. Perfume? Huh? See, why did I tell you? Following oil took on brightly with colors. Light streamed through the window, illuminating the wall of the bedroom. The woman saw us still before me. I tried to call out to Sawyer, but did not respond. Reaching out for her, I sent my handsome fascinator about her. It did not seem to be me who was speaking to her. Perhaps I were looking at the scene from some other period of time. A long time ahead of us. Master bedroom. And darkness comes in again. When the woman's shadow faded away, the master bedroom transferred back to its old, dreary state. But I were unsure how to describe the urge flowing from my breast. I could not say her name. I moved in the master bedroom for some time, but did not fear anything else was going to happen. So I decided to head somewhere else. What got me? Maid? No, maid. Oh wait, we're back here. I turned to the room with a stained glass window. I searched throughout the mansion, but no luck of finding the maid. I felt so much tired, although I were not quite sure whether it was just physical exhaustion or otherwise. I had little interest in doing anything more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, I gazed up at the stained glass. Staring solemnly back down at me was the archangel said to weigh the souls of the deceased. Perhaps he was willing to weigh my soul. Call for the maid? Yes. Oh, you're here now. Centuries. This maid took my hand. It's going up to sinister down my spine and completely devoid of life. Though as chilling as it may have been, I still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in mine. The maid looked down at me with gentle eyes. A few moments of silence, she sat down beside her. The stained glass is quite beautiful, is it not? Every time you see it. Press the enemy's face. I have never seen such an expression before. I remember myself after seeing it. Our feet, if our door is not far, please hold the door. Found a door, holding my hand, leave it. And they led me back to the far end of the room. So we to sing out of the metal door, into view. Descending on top of these stairs, there will be find one last door. She pressed open another door, leading on a long spiral staircase. Oh, moving. Come to closure. Just keep it will be better box. Golden chancellor churches. Change from one dimension. Master, I wish. I think what windows, carbon stones, or locations all the way up the spiral staircase. I attempted to peer out one of the windows, but all I see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps I made a suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside. In reality was, in fact, right. With each step upward, I found myself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety, fearing somewhat resembled irritation or annoyance. Sensing this meant I gripped my hand. The fear, and the maid continued climbing the stairs, up and up, around and around, marching over nearer the closed final door. I opened the tower, and as light from below drew signs, the rock door came into view. Let's see what time it is. Patches of light describing it appeared to be blood stained on the surface, and holes had been poured into sharp objects of some sort. I heard a scream from far below, where no one should have been. Kill the witch, kill the witch, kill the witch! Burn her, burn her, burn her. Shock of fear, the next moment the maid opened the door. And then I slowly descended into the darkness. Fourth door. What time is it? 10:09. You just went. Okay, so it's 18:09, 1864. No, we're gonna jump. Set on the pot, set it down, and also pour water into it. Gather the pieces, therefore onto it. Every piece, the tight and the shoulder. Bowl with the choice flames. Take the choice of the fork and burn also the bones under it. And make it boil well and let them see the bones of it. And thus saith the Lord, woe to the bloody city, the pot whose scum is therein, and whose scum is not gone out of it. Bring it out piece by piece, let it not fall upon it. Wow. And will I leave thee upon the land, I will cast thee forth upon the open field, and will cause all the fowls of the heaven to remain upon thee, and I will fill the beasts of the whole earth with thee, and I will lay thy flesh upon the mountains, and fill the villages with thy height. I will also water with thy blood in the land, wherein thou swimmest even to the mountains, and the river shall be full of thee. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven, and make the stars therefore of God. I will cover the sun with cloud, the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of heaven will I mark dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land. Darkness from as far as I can see. Now the ray of light shines upon me. All that strokes from my cheek are tendrils of darkness, either passing day, every fading hour, not more recent calls in heaven. There exists no kindness in the shadow, only solitude. Lost track of how long I've been on the run, wandering aimlessly, lost until you arrive. In this dark forest, you no longer have anywhere to go. I will be shown the perspective and the place to go, but nevertheless you are unable to give up on life. Cast aside your hope. Heaven is salvation. We can no longer remember it. Now I become not good running. They came endless wandering into the dark. And now, when you reach the point where you've long since forgotten your memory thirst, the voice becomes hoarse, your vision gone blurry, and your consciousness begins to sink into a hazy numbness. The mansion appears before you, wrapped in a morning fog that seems to foretell rain. Oh, movement and overhead. Mansion coming to reveal like a wolf hiding. Doors soon does not appear as though anyone lives here. The windows are either boarded up or shuttered as if long since been removed. The tower, which seems out of place in personal residence, stand tall beside the mansion. The whole building seems as though it could disappear with the fog. And an unwelcome presence fleeing you and their tricks. However, this is your you know where else to go to the mansion's now salvation. Guide that guides your way, and so you must have faith that no other matter what you find, where the spirits or wild beasts may dwell within these walls, that this is where you will find peace. It would be more unusual for someone to be living in a house so deep in the woods, so far from civilization, like it's being forgotten to time. You can't imagine anyone spending their days here. You place your hand on the front door, but if you can't get in, you're very much doubt you'll find anywhere else to stay wandering around these woods. If the door doesn't open, then you'll die out here in the forest. You've come to accept much, but you're not ready to fulfill your life yet. The door is heavy and low as seems to rest. Your attempts to either it opens much easier than you were expecting. You're worried over nothing. Looking in, you get the strangest impression light as you fall up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it feels as though I'm about to set outside the boundaries of the world. You close the door, it's so dark you can't even tell where you're walking. You wonder if the window's open. Though you manage to fumble your way over to the window, it's slightly shuttered, and the shutters are caked with rust. You're probably not getting it open without a fight. You're at some source of movement. You can't even see your hand wavering from my face. It feels like a door with walls from under you, and you'll sink into eternal darkness if you don't watch your spell. Running back to that fierce, you slowly walk forward, tracing the wall with your hand. There's a door at the end of the long corridor. You pull it open, with going chilly and your muscles past you. It is too dark to see anything. You feel something different present in this area and the rest of the house. And the voice disappears into the void. No response. As you are pushing through the air, for a second you spot a film of light. Turn down your eyes. You're able to make out a large window. Like the others, it's not shuttered but covered by drapes. The chances are slim to imagine. There's even a slight possibility of getting some light in here just for a shot. So you pull open drapes. Next moment, faint with colorful light shining upon you. A stained glass window. From beyond the glass, you hear the slow pitter-patter of rain. The gas finally has started. Different color of light and into milky white, dim but wondrous. It is gorgeous. And then you hear a voice and you can see someone else in the room. The man's voice is motionless, neither deep nor high. But before long he comes into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. Oh, was that part of the... Man stands there, practically blending with the darkness. Has you been here the whole time? He was staring straight at him. His gaze wavered slightly, but not enough for you to read anything in it. Counting his hand and the light from the stained glass windows are the only illumination in the room, the of which are particularly bright. As a result, his outline is faint and blurred. He gives off the impression that he might vanish entirely between blinks. It's a thing from the meal. First wish. Seen by hers. The hatred and all do all within it meet their demise. Third party two and first. Yes. If I completely apologize for sending my food, the dwarf had won. It must have been at the scale. But you beg for my forgiveness. I heard a terrible screaming from down the stairs, and you panicked. You said, I said I saw the white-haired girl. I said I saw him. I said, you see? So I made it into the world beyond the door before. I'm deeply relieved that you were able to take my hand before losing sight of it. I presume you are already growing familiar with the atmosphere of this time period. If I have seen her, as I said, then I should have a basic grasp of the situation. She is a very misfortunate girl in this era, accused of being a witch, abused and persecuted. Her life was in constant danger. It was again her appearance that brought this upon her. That snow white hair and those ruby red eyes clearly differentiated her from everyone else. I do apologize. You neglected to mention that the story is unique. As for what sets it apart, that will be made clear as we proceed. The one difference is the time period. Tales have shown began with that of the beautiful fox and her family, followed by the tale of bloodthirsty beast, and then the tales of steel and ambition. Proceeding in chronological order. However, the door we have just entered takes us to the period now known as the Middle Ages. I mean, I can tell. 10099 is not exactly recent. Long before the other sweet tales. Yes, that is correct. This is where all began. The mansion's curse, truth of the witch, and my identity. All this should be made known. If after this tale I am still unable to reclaim my old self, then there is nothing more you can do. The story contains the last tale you are able to tell. So you ask of me, please do not let go of your hand until it is all over. Now then, let us begin a beautiful tragic love story of two solitary souls trapped in the mansion of darkness. Wow, in that era the mansion was a dungeon shut up in darkness. A great deal of time and run while her girl found herself at a remote mansion in the dark overgrown forest. All the windows were either broad or shuttered, and it is each 7 darker inside the house than out. Not even a ray of moonlight could enter these walls. Only naturally the white girl had assumed that nobody lived there. But her guess were correct. So on Darren, a dwarf in the house, it was a young man named Mitchell. Though she could not take out the details of his face in the candlelight, she thought him a very handsome man. However, he proclaimed her that a witch resided within the mansion, and that he too was cursed. Everyone who got close to him lost their lives. Are we Mitchell? I think what he told her was all nonsense. A lie that advised to chase her out of the house. The truth of the matter shall come to light in time. Despite Mitchell's assertions about her girl, decided she would take up residence within the mansion. This era was why her girl was younger than the others. She was still in her early teens, young enough to be seen still as a child. She was neither self-centered nor irresponsible, as I might expect from someone of her age. She was very delicate and reserved, and acted with a great deal of modesty and restraint. The accusation of her being a criminal and sinner was grossly inappropriate. Nevertheless, she was still chased from her home, barely managing to flee to this mansion of her life. Now the Warhol girl thought it would be rude to simply take up space in the mansion, so she chased down the master and asked, why not use the evolutionary waves? No, I believe her. Disinterested. Not sure disrespectful, nor did he seem to reverse her presence. Or simply not seem to affect him at all. Not only was his mansion a poison for his body also a prison entering his heart. not let that get her down. In fact, she might have been even interpreted his disdain, interest as kindness. But he was a bit standoffish. She did not attempt to cause her harm. He was nothing like the people who had accused her of being a witch and forced her to flee from her life. She was deeply grateful of that. Thus began their quiet life again. Mitchell, who avoided contact with others, and White Girl, who had taken a great deal of abuse from others, to people who knew hardly anything about one another, who were too distant to really be said to be living together. Mitchell spent most of his days in his chambers, so they only ever saw each other occasionally. Occasionally, they hardly ever spoke. Though they stayed in the same house, they both still lived solitary lives. Nonetheless, the white-haired girl wanted to get to know Mitchell better. She wanted to know why he called himself cursed, why he lived alone in this dark mansion, how many days, how many years he had spent here in solitude. And while she waited for the opportunity, she also started doing things around the house. Her first project she set out was take care of was cleaning. As the windows were all firmly shut, her only source of light was candles. For whatever reason, there was a great deal of candles stored in the cellar. She wondered where on earth he had acquired so many, but she never found the opportunity to ask him. It was with difficulty to even see all the dust and the cobwebs with only candlelight. And considering the poor flow through the house, she was afraid her efforts were going to be in vain. So she persisted, sweeping and wiping things down, one room at a time. Eventually, she made her way into the library. The dust that had settled there was much heavier than any other room. With each breath, she had to fight back coughs. It was not a room one would normally be comfortable spending much time in, but so many bulky volumes lining the shelves sent her heart flutter with delight. Why, her girl had never seen a book before. I heard people describe them, but that was the first time she had ever seen one for herself. Parchment was a very valuable commodity in that era. Likewise, it was much. It was something monks or scholarly priests made use of, and not a material one could easily acquire without some degree of social rank. Books were not printed with merchants, but copied by hand. The single volume took an incredible amount of work to create. Even the process of binding was an art. Standing before her shelf, she stared intently at the spines. There's so much dust. Did she not even remove them? She said, making excuses to the empty room as she reached her hand towards one of the books. And caught her eyes on the shelf. The work gorgeous, jade and body, and looked like it belonged to a treasure chest. So she tended to act older than her age, while girl was still in her early teens and not especially tall. Even standing tiptoe, she was still just barely within reach. As long as her slender fingers made contact with the spine, and she began to pull the book towards her. The library had been for some time, causing the covers to stick together. So when she turned to pull one out, several others still took with it. And then, almost all the books on the shelf came avalanching down onto her. Our girl around her mountain parchment. She hoped she had not damaged any of her host's valuable collection, for the mess was enough of a setback already in her attempts to express her gratitude. Looking around, she drew one volume that was almost torn in half. She did not know whether it was in that condition before, or if it had happened in the fall. But nonetheless, she felt horribly guilty. Sitting there, unable to get back to her feet, tears began welling in her eyes. Then suddenly a shadow fell over the dejected girl. He took a book in his hand and returned it to the shelf. For a brief moment, the shadow's hand reached hesitantly towards the white-haired girl, then changed course towards another book. As Mitchell, there was a hint of perplexity on his otherwise emotionless eyes. Perhaps he had heard the noise and came to see what had caused it. The other girl turned her gaze towards the shelf, squinting her eyes and beginning to count. One every month. When she finished, she was in a wall. There was an excess of 100 books on the shelves, which meant he had lived there in solitude for many years. Once a month, yeah. 96 is 8 years. So almost 9. Skills I've lost for words. 8 years? Yeah, that's a lot. Was it? How much was it? Excessive. There were 600 books on the shelf. So 180. So 9 years. So another interesting enough to waste a few hours with. Decoration is all they're good for. Giselle. Yeah, Giselle. So much for this. It's your first rise. Necessary. Just depressing enough to have a conversation with someone living in the same house. Ah, yes, yes. Well, the girl's quite smart for her age. Yes, yes. As the master of the hospital made his way out of the library, he appeared to be slightly rattled. Perhaps why her girl's determination had ignited something in his shamed heart. Perhaps it was something else. She stared down towards the darkness into which Mitchell had disappeared. Then she carefully wrapped her arms around the jade and embossed tome, a soft smile spreading across her lips. He's a decent man. And thus began blossoming her heart, a faint sense of fellowship with someone who also knew solitude. It's like 2 hours, isn't it? Jesus. It had been about a week since the her girl had taken up residence within the mansion. Staying in that house, deprived of light, was, as you imagined, a very claustrophobic experience. To anyone blessed enough to have sunlight as part of their everyday lives, it would have been unbearable. But for her, the mansion, with its prison walls and lack of either illumination or recreation, was the only place she could find respite. She and Mitchell continued to be distant, however. He spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had explicitly told her girl to stay out of, leaving her unable to choose Nevertheless, the occasions they did cross paths in the hallway, their eyes would meet, if but briefly. It was never for more than a few seconds. Whether she saw him, she made a point of giving him a little smile. He never said anything, but still, when she had first arrived, he would not have even met her gaze. He seemed to be taking more and more notice of her. Also, what are you two eating? What are you two eating? You're just weak, and it's a girl. There's just the salad here is just magically full of food. Yeah, great. One day, while her girl stood in the cellar, frown on her face. Ah, never mind. And speak of the devil, cellars were the food stores, an assortment of non-perishables and dried foods, milk, meats, and cheeses. Her daily meals were taken from the supplies here. However, the stock was beginning to grow quite small. Where she would not on the run, she could have gone to the village to produce more. Perhaps, were she a little tougher, she could have captured a wild animal for its meat. But, yes, I know a young, delicate thing like her was hardly up to a task for food. I wouldn't so much say hunting as trapping. She could have, although that's too much. But a knack for the knot is a good thing to have, indeed. And shopping for food is not as precarious and perilous as hunting. And food will be abundant that way. And there are the other questions while Mistress Sargent raising her head. How lifeless she seemed. Surely he had to eat, right? Our goat nodded and made her way out of the cellar and intended to head for his bedchamber. On the way with her there, she saw him standing by the entrance, staring emotionally out the door, lit by a single candle. He appeared to be waiting for something. You don't eat what? That sounds very economical. Economical. What is that term? What is that word? Brain in the 1090s. I don't know. Economical. Seeing trying to find you is a waste of time. I'm afraid. Signal. Her go turn towards Mitchell's press. And for more information, but he averts his gaze. Find an answer yourself, he seems to be saying. She took several moments to gather her will and march over to the door. So bright, sunlight, which she had not seen in some time, was so bright it seemed to burn her eyes. Although the sun itself had not gotten any brighter, she had simply spent so much time in the dark. Her eyes were no longer accustomed to that much light. The color of her eyes made them seem quite sensitive to light already, so when she stepped outside, her world went going white. While her girl stood motionless for 10, perhaps 15 seconds, and when her eyes finally adjusted to the light, she noticed a crate on the ground at her feet. She turned to head back to ask Mitchell about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed from the outside world. From where she stood, she was unable to distinguish Mitchell from the shadows. Feeling nervous and struck her, she wanted to return to the darkness as quickly as possible, but her girl had come to yearn for that world without light more than the one with. The crate was fairly hefty. The slightly built girl had considerable difficulty bringing it into the house, but eventually she did manage to drag it through the front door. And then everything went dark once more, except for the faint flicker of candlelight floating in the air. I'll take care of the rest. At a word, Mitchell approached her and the box, withdrawing his knife that had evidently kept hidden somewhere on his person. Then he cut through the rope that bound the box. Oh, it's like a wooden crate. Go on, open it up. At this instant, he placed her hand upon the lid. She had no idea what lay inside this unexpected delivery. Whoever had brought it was already long gone. Staring at the strange box, she was racked with nervousness. However, as she found when she pressed inside, the lid was completely ordinary food. We're just talking about supplies and selling. Well, okay. Interesting. As he turned his heels, I heard a girl caught a glimpse of appeared to be smeared on his face, like the whole team was something on a sick joke. I smiled carved into his mask. It was far colder than any look of annoyance or rejection. But despite the twinge of nervousness, he still followed her permission. As much as he might have stood out in a crowd with such height and long hair, his presence was almost entirely enforced by the way by the darkness. She felt like he could have simply faded into nothingness at any moment. I'm gonna say his hair. Okay. Live stairs. The ruined garden dancing up and through there. Rachel held a finger before himself and the butterfly mistaken for a branch. Drifted down upon the rest of his wings. Had the same stop there would have been a quite picturesque moment. All that comes in contact with me loses its life. My skin, the breath I exhale, the flesh and blood is poison to all life. But the butterfly's movements began to slow. It spread its wing once last for an attempt to fly to gravity. And then without warning, I shivered up into a dry husk. It's dead, all dried up and lifeless, like it's been dead for many days. It's like his fingers drained all the life out of it. Is this his curse? Is that even possible? This is his curse, that explains much. So we're into something long ago. Is he ground? Very food. Before I open the door. Should he touch you? Should he get near me? His very life is in danger. He was interested enough in seeing you to take that risk. Won't ever have anything to do with you. No, your soul even wishes to see your face. I said to kill you. Concern for you, just like people. Wow, that is. Oh my god, that is so hard to believe. Coming from a girl in Middle Ages, it's saying that a curse is irrational. It's mind-boggling how this girl can understand so much of the world at the time. With half of like 90%, 99.9% of everyone's saying she's a witch because she has red eyes and white hair. And then she says, the curse is irrational, and he explained what unbelievable. Like, oh. let's continue. We're out to bear. You will not leave. Change. Some situation. Everyone how that feels. It's cursed. There, there's no mansion. Oh yeah, that was a joke. That was a crude joke. It was like, I don't eat. Thing. Fucking teenage girls. Teenage girls. Teenage girls. It was a power that invoked images from witches or demons. It is the unclean and the impure. The mere touch of it was all it took for him to strip a man and beast the like of its life. God has a cruel streak to bestow such power upon such a beautiful young man. And strange power it was indeed, like something out of fairy tale. Like something confined to the worlds upon the page. It seemed otherworldly. Unbelievable. Nonetheless, as he had demonstrated to the white-haired girl, his particular powers were indeed real. Yeah, he said, the world has its fair share of oddities, which just so happens that the house curiosities seem to remain hidden away only to a few. Although I have laid eyes upon a number of unusual phenomena myself, the arts of the past through which have experienced a very mansion, and as a matter of fact, the two of us. Now, as I just saw, the white-haired girl found herself enraptured with this man, his accursed power. How do I think Mitchell acted in response to her proclamation? He had spent so long refusing to interact with others, no, unable to interact with them. As such, he was unsure how to proceed to respond. After standing there expressionless for a few moments, he muttered and considered. With that, he turned to his fingers. While he was not someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, I personally did not believe he was completely devoid of emotions. He had suddenly forgotten how to express himself, express them in his extended solitude. So you think he was, in a moment, in a state of complete panic. She had, after all, just a solid stream of incomprehensible declarations. Yet, knowing the truth, she still wished to remain in the mansion, and that, knowing the truth, she loved him. The love she had declared for Mitchell was not a fleeting puppy love. There was genuine tenderness and warmth to her words. He had gone through his life, son, feared, pushed away. To him, that was normal. He never given anyone reason to have any fondness for him, so he found himself utterly unsure how to make the affection she was showing. Of course, he was not the only one rattled by the whole affair. Several days had passed since Mitchell had asked for time to think. He had yet to show himself again. The wife had grown through the halls on the off chance she might run into him. As for his espresso, she kept a distance from the chambers. Nevertheless, she was beginning to worry about the fact that he had secluded himself away for too long. So she worked with courage and made his way to his room. Even every step she took was slow and laborious. Her mind raced with worry and doubt. And out of desire to know how he felt, she compelled by guilt and desire to apologize. After walking for some time, she arrived at the door set in an utterly unlit hallway. This might be long, continuous. She swaggered stood. Next, she reached her hand up to knock on the door and pulled it back, so doing it a number of times. Oh, how adorable she was. She wanted nothing more than to give her a little nudge. After all, she was too sweet a girl for her worries to be anything but misplaced. He gathered her courage once more, this time determined she would do it. The white-haired girl moved her small fist towards the door and swung open. Snap. Ah, that word means happy. Well, girl. Well, I mean, given the time of this game, that's probably. Wait a second. Wait, what? I am perplexed. Ah, strange. Never mind, that's fine. Because it also queer also means strange, odd enough. Although the way the world placed the word as bisexual or homosexual, so yeah, that mistake. What? Huh? Like this? Yeah, give her a bell. That works. Most people see the world. Oh, at least he understands that much. Fix a belt. No, suck, you're a person. Fix a belt. Yeah, you say you have little sins how most people say real, and then you say you feel bad at giving her a belt. I mean, it's better than what others would say. And given the time period, there isn't any other better solutions. You see, he can't exactly wear gloves 24/7. I mean, he can, but I guess it doesn't exist in the house. I mean, he can't cover his face or his hair perfectly. You could cut it all away, but his face is gonna be still there. His hand can't just put a drape over it all the time. It'd be annoying. I mean, he can though. I think about it. Drape his face with like a casa. What was it? And gloves. Although it'd be real shit ass pains though. Museum. Huh? I I um what images are seen into my head. They see memories before they can. Huh? What? What? Is that always been a thing, or is that just like a bug in the system? Because like this game isn't exactly the most well developed aesthetic. The stories are great though, I gotta say. Oh Jesus! What is? Have I been missing these? There's like a. It's just part of the. Holy Jesus. Yeah, really are. I think, I don't. What? I think it's above the system. This is. Whoa, okay. Damn. First off, that's very comprehensive. You know. You're. What? Oh, jeez. You're feeling something. Okay. Okay, Jesus, what's going on? Beautiful story, much better than somebody. Huh? Oh, I don't like that. What is this? Yeah. Well, possibly. So she was found herself confident by her. For someone wishing to have her say. I'm genuinely confused whether or not, uh, if that's actually part of the game, or is it just me? Like the computer? Probably isn't. You can see that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's the game. That is the game. Yeah. That is the game. Or is it? Let me pull up the dialogue yet again. Has my files been corrupted? That could be another thing. Oh, nothing. As marked the true beginning of their days together in the Dark Mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence and no longer assigning themselves, but actively regularly conversing. As many as might have been, it was something that Lieutenant Tingle taught them. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark, drawing closer and pushing away again. Mitchell, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said, and Whitehall Girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. They had taken to dining together, and the wish of learning to read was being granted. He had tired in the feeble light of a candle placed on the table, the two sitting across from one another. Though Mitchell seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually she reached a point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next question was for them to read through the book together. Looking at still one for direct. The Diary of the Lord, full of make-believe tales. I found fiction to take it. Stories of other lives. Exhilarating. But we were able to give you a little bit. Okay, it stopped. Has it? I like what is going on? I am so confused. Local legends and look at seven sections. Here's me mostly superstitions. We're looking down the separate indicated volume. What her girl had said seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down from generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, retaining the pages and interested watching, so as not to rush against her. Until her eyes were drawn to a particular word on the wing pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. The chapter tells the story of a witch, or more precisely, stated the witch's curse. And so we want something like this. There's once a witch skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the villagers. Ah, yes, of course. The first book they meet together has something to do with the witch. It has to be. But then a long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch had descendants' death, and the daylight blazed around her. Smoke rised high into the air. Smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds, and they eventually began to take each other's lives, which still lived on in the form of a curse. Many fell victims to the witch's curse. Though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but the wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus, the legend had been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for a great sacrifice. The smoke in the sky should wash us down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climbed for the heavens, and know that a road is a road to destruction. Road. Ostensibly the witch's curse. But now, I suppose. Much parallel to the mansion, is it not? You fulfill your desires once great. Yes. Yes. She had reason enough to hold a grudge. Yes, it was. Over time, also, yeah. Search of your sufferings outward. So that comes after when we have this is from agonizing despair alone. She knows well which is grant people's wishes. Which was and also attractive process from not terrible prices. Not terrible prices. Perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the planet from chasing after the legend. Perhaps they had encountered Mitchell, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, many things are buried here. Perhaps that included such visitors. Really? So then left this elevator made way to the room with the stained glass window. Far end of that room was a stairs to the observation hall. The witch had piked the Whitehurst Willow's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she had already felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. Yes, understandable. The stairways. Which then lead to find the long swell sections. There were many more stairs in the Waterville having this way, and she usually found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. Pleasantly cool, high altitude breeze rushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of particularly rotted wood stood. Richard opened the door, but it was a small room with no windows, regardless of style. What? Oh, this is the top of the tower. Instead of being called an observational tower, you could hardly observe anything from here. Her face contorted in confusion, the white-haired girl threw her gaze around the room. Glancing out, she saw only a darkened ceiling, and slightly below it, a single small window through which a stone with a little ray of light. The beam cleaved through darkness like a shepherd's blade of a beautiful sword. Darkness draped over the rest of the room, only to serve to make more impressive that solitary ray of light. And a magical fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by its true towards her eyes, I suspect it was more. What? The girl at the time. Which was I found upon her girl. As he said, it was a stone. I've never flinched at anything, but had long since distanced himself from such journeys as heart was utterly bewitched. I'd never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding words to describe her striking beauty. I would share the same sentiment as Mitchell's if this was painted better. if the art style was better, as such, I would share the same sentiment. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the Power Girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, more like one of the hosts of heaven. Mitchell undoubtedly felt the same way at first gaze of fixing firmly upon her. That's much better. Gaze leading to heaven. Oh, come on, no, not that. That should take their mouth. Oh. We were not even living being this focused. Touches in. Ah, yes. What happens that? Anyone else? Snapping on this side. Joshua. And this is very much the stranger to me. And I'm not. And thus you turn to the mansion year after year, seeking the same mission. There is this wall between them, a wall they cannot cross. For if they did, it would mean the wild girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another, so they did within the confines of their imagination. Virginia, it is as much detail as they could manage. Please, me, that's enough. That is enough. Yes, sweet moment, pristine, untainted beauty. Oh my god, dialogue, please be better. Man, at this point I suspect it's just the game. Like, what the fuck, bro? Untainted beauty and emanated sincerity. As fitting as the world curse might have been, mansion as a whole. On top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being stirred. Fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long, no, for God is quite cruel. He simply wanted to be together, that was all. Your wish was hardly unreasonable. Only quiet, peaceful life together, but misfortune was creeping ever nearer, its footsteps growing more and more pronounced. Be a good game. No, not a game. Story. Such is the way. And funny enough, I will stop it here because I need some sleep. Oh, yes, knocking. Yes. There we go.